An interesting trend is emerging in US-Africa relations. Even as the United States moves to counter Chinese influence in key sectors like mining, China's influence in Africa is subtly reshaping the United States' own approach to engaging with the continent. When U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken last visited Africa, many of his talking points were familiar, including a focus on threats to security and democracy, particularly in the coup-ridden Sahel region. However, a shift was noted, with expansion from security and health engagement to include trade, industrialization, and infrastructure. Blinken emphasized on future-focused economic partnership, investing in infrastructure in Africa to boost two-way trade, create jobs in the continent and the U.S., and help Africa compete in the global marketplace. A White House strategy had been laid out, where numerous billion-dollar infrastructure-related initiatives were listed, such as grants supporting strategic infrastructure projects. The United States has consistently framed democracy, strong public institutions, free markets, and a free press, not infrastructure, as the key building blocks of development. Unlike the US, China's focus has been on infrastructure-driven economic growth. This saw the United States' share of the African contracting sector fall to single digits, while China's contractors grew to about 60% of the continent's construction revenue by 2019. This U.S. pivot to infrastructure shift arguably reflects how China has reshaped thinking about development in the so-called Global South. This is despite the United States' frequent framing of Beijing's infrastructure financing as predatory lending. The most developed infrastructure proposal on the table so far is the Lobito Corridor project. It entails upgrading a 1,344-kilometer rail linking the copper and cobalt mining regions of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, with the Angolan port of Lobito and the Zambian mining center of Ndola. At present, the project is estimated to take 5 years. The United States has already signed 2 memoranda of understanding related to the project, one with the DRC and Zambia in 2022, and one with the DRC's state mining company, Geopolitical, and the Japan Organization for Metals and Energy Security in February 2024. The Lobito Corridor is key to the Biden administration's determination to ensure supplies of critical minerals free from Chinese involvement. However, warding off Chinese involvement will be a complex maneuver. While the rail link on the DRC side of the border still has to be built, the Angolan side will cohere around the Benguela Railway, which was upgraded during the late 2000s by China Railway Construction Corporation. Eliminating Chinese actors will be a hurdle for both US and EU infrastructure projects, as they are deeply embedded in Africa. In late 2023, Europe's global gateways pledged to de-risk its investments from China faced doubts when it was revealed that Energias de Portugal S.A., appointed to a global gateway corporate advisory board, is partly owned by the state-linked construction giant China Three Gorges Corporation. Chinese contractors occupy on average 61.9% of the African construction market. In some countries such as Angola, this share is more than 80%. These statistics mean the Chinese influence in Africa is a structural reality that will have to be factored into the project planning. The U.S. and its allies are tasked with promoting alternative, sustainable partnerships. Angola, Zambia, and the DRCs have shown interest in working with the G7, reflecting a need to diversify their mining industry stakeholders and reduce dependency, enhancing economic sovereignty. However, commitments from these G7 governments show that they have not yet overcome long-held perceptions of African risk. On the other hand, Chinese contractors, backed by their government's clear de-risking and return on investment strategies, are more responsive. Taking the Lobito Corridor as an example, shows that despite the initiative's strong emphasis on private sector involvement, only one Western mining company has so far signed a non-binding agreement to export minerals via the Lobito Corridor. One of the biggest challenges to the Biden administration's new approach to Africa lies in the U.S. African leaders are closely watching the 2024 U.S. presidential elections, amid widespread perception that key cooperation initiatives may shift, thus influencing their strategic decisions. While countering Chinese influence in the African critical minerals sector enjoys bipartisan support among U.S. lawmakers, the mode to pursue it could fluctuate depending on the administration. These uncertainties could make African policymakers less willing to alienate a relatively predictable trade and infrastructure partner like China in favor of untested engagement with the United States. As the U.S.-Africa relationship embarks on this new chapter, the focus on infrastructure and economic partnership paves the way for mutual prosperity. The journey ahead is filled with both opportunities and challenges, but the promise of a collaborative future remains bright. For more insights into global politics, economics, and the pivotal moments shaping our world, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to stay updated on our latest videos.